William Morrow and HarperAudio present The Greatest Beer Run Ever, a memoir of friendship, loyalty, and war, by John Chick Donahue and J.T. Molloy. Read by Malcolm Hillgartner. A note before we begin. Don't forget to download the accompanying enhancement PDF from your audiobook provider, or go to www.harpercollins.com/audio/greatest-beer-run-ever. It contains a detailed map of Vietnam, as well as a complete bibliography and list of video sources. Introduction. In November 1967, John Chick Donahue was a 26-year-old U.S. Marine Corps veteran working as a merchant seaman when he was challenged one night in a New York City bar. The men gathered at this hearth had lost family and friends in the ongoing war in Vietnam. Now they were seeing protesters turn on the troops, boys 18, 19 years of age, as they showed up at the draft board when called. One neighborhood patriot proposed an idea many might deem preposterous. One of them should sneak into Vietnam, track down their buddies in combat, and give each of them a beer, a bear hug, laughs, and words of support from back home. Chick volunteered for the mission. Thus began his odyssey, which would stretch from Quy Nhon Harbor on the coast of the South China Sea, up north to the tense Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ, pushing against North Vietnam and Laos, to the Central Highlands along the border of Cambodia, to the U.S. military's huge bullseye of an ammunition depot at Long Binh, and then all the way south to Saigon, the capital of South Vietnam, all in search of his friends. Things did not go exactly as planned, but Chick did return to America, where he continued to look out for his friends and other working people. During the bitter 1990 New York Daily News strike, when he was working for the Teamsters, who supported the strikers, Chick found out that a freight train full of newsprint paper from Canada was headed to New York so that management could publish a scab paper. Chick paid a visit to workers at an upstate train yard, and somehow the train was intercepted and got lost in North Dakota. When Congress was going to cut funding for New York's water tunnel and subway projects in the 1980s, Chick was by then a sandhog, one of the urban miners who worked the dangerous job of excavation and construction of the city's underground tunnels used to transport water, subways, trucks, and cars. At the same time, he was a lobbyist for the Sandhogs Union, Laborers' Union Local 147. He'd work in the hold in the morning and then take the train to Washington in the afternoon to try to convince the politicians to see the light. Ultimately, he did it by taking them into the dark, bringing a group of senators and House members 700 feet below the sidewalks in a cage elevator into the dripping caves. Despite their pleas to be taken back to the surface, Chick delayed their ascent until they pledged to vote yes on infrastructure. He was later accepted at Harvard University's John F. Kennedy School of Government as a master's candidate, but rather than tiptoe around, he helped organize an employees' union with slogans such as, "You can't eat prestige." And when his friend, the author Frank McCourt, whose best-selling 1996 memoir recounted his impoverished upbringing primarily in Ireland, received threats before he was to give a public reading in Ireland, Chick flew over with a hulking, alleged New York mobster so that he could stand next to McCourt as he read. There was no trouble. You get the picture. Chick is the subject of many an amazing story, but the one you are about to hear is the best. JTM. Chapter 1. One Night in a New York City Bar. The Colonel's Challenge. We were in Doc Fiddler's one cold night in November 1967. It was a favorite bar in the Inwood neighborhood of Manhattan, at 264 Sherman Avenue, above Isham Street. George Lynch was the bartender. We called him the Colonel. It was an honorary title since he had made only private first class in the Army, but he was a great military historian and patriot. One day the Colonel commandeered the empty lot on the corner and erected a gigantic flagpole, something you might find in Central Park or in front of a government building.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?